Hey there, welcome everybody to this special edition of TXN Sports World Football Wednesday, right here on the Zone 25 here on YouTube and Streaming.com. I am your host, Anthony Florio, joined by good old MF Michael Fletcher and Michael Bullock. Tonight, we are going to preview tomorrow night's game between the Denver Broncos and the Los Angeles Chargers. And on top of that, we are also going to preview the first round of the all-new 12-team college football playoff. So that's what's on tap for tonight. So with that being said, let's not waste any more time and start it right off. Tomorrow night, Thursday Night Football on Amazon Prime Video as we kick off Week 16 of the NFL season. It feels like just yesterday we started another season, but we're in the home stretch now, guys. Only 3 weeks to go in the regular season, and we have Week 16 starting it off tomorrow night. And we are going to start it off with our number 2 game of the week. The Denver Broncos squaring off against the Los Angeles Chargers, SoFi Stadium in Inglewood, California. You know who it is, as always. Al Michaels, Kirk Herbstreit, Kaylee Hartung. And before I get into the schematics, of course, as everybody knows, not everybody has Amazon Prime Video. And for the people of Denver and Los Angeles only, you can find these games on local affiliates. For Denver, you can find this game on your ABC affiliate. So that would be KMGH ABC Channel 7 in Denver. For the people of Los Angeles, you can watch this game on KTTV Fox Channel 11 in Los Angeles. So ABC affiliate for Denver, Fox affiliate for Los Angeles, just like you had a week ago when you had the Rams and the 49ers in that absolute dud of a game. The only person who enjoyed it, of course, was MF because it was a defensive battle and it was in the rain as well. So a double bonus for MF. But all kidding aside, let's get into the schematics now. The spread favors the Chargers. Chargers opening up as a 2.5-point favorite. And they met earlier this season. They met in week number, I believe it was 6 in Denver. And the Chargers won that game by a score of 23-16. So they cut into Denver's series lead. Excuse me. It is now 72-56 with a tie. And last year in LA, Denver won that game by a score of 24-7. The Chargers' last home win against Denver was the year before in 2022. That was a 1916 overtime win. The Chargers have gone cold at the wrong time with their offense and defense suddenly falling apart, leading to a lack of complementary football that had them rolling earlier in the season. Coach Jim Harbaugh could get a correction here against a division foe that has won 4 straight games, but has gotten sloppier of late as well. Well, and on the other side, the Chargers are 1-3 straight up in their last 4 games. And the season-ending knee injury to J.K. Dobbins continues to loom large. Los Angeles has averaged just 66 rushing yards a game through this stretch. Denver averages almost 87 rushing yards through a 4-game winning streak. Defense is creating more turnovers, and that could key the win here. So, yes, tough to call on. It is a bit of a tough one to call. I'm going to be honest with you. I got to go with the hotter hand right now, and I got to go with the Denver Broncos to win this game. And I am going to go with Denver to win this game. My final score, 24-21. The Denver Broncos defeat the Los Angeles Chargers and takes a step closer to them getting into the postseason. So, but regardless, major playoff implications for both teams in this AFC West divisional matchup. But I got Denver stealing one at SoFi, 24-21. But would I be surprised if the Chargers were to win? No, I wouldn't. But I got to give it to Denver. They're the hotter hand right now. And the Chargers are a bit of a mess right now. So 24-21, Denver goes into SoFi and steals one from the Chargers, adding to their playoff positioning. So Not much more to say. Good old MF, Michael Fletcher. The number two game of the week on our side of the ledger. Huge AFC playoff implications for both sides.
Yeah, no, this is awesome. I'm with you, Anthony. I feel like Denver is just a team now that they can't go wrong. The biggest game that they had last week was that big showdown against the big showdown last week against uh, that against Indianapolis, and they passed with flying colors. Um, Indy kind of shot themselves in the foot here, kind of cost themselves an opportunity at the playoffs, and they opened the door for Denver. And like you said, Anthony, they're one step closer. But the fact that the matter is this: if Denver wins, all they would need is either Indy to lose or Miami to lose, and it basically a clinching scenario for them. It's simple. You win on this Thursday, basically a win, and that's it. It's over. They're in. Miami would be out. Indianapolis would be out, and it would consequently it will lock up it will lock up everything for them. In order for the Chargers to clinch, they would need to win a loss by the Miami Dolphins and a loss by the Indianapolis Colts, and that's it. They're in. They clinch, and they're home free. So I gotta say, I think it's gonna be Denver. I feel like they're like you said, they're in a good position. I just don't think it's gonna be much more to say. So, and here's the thing: if they win that game, then they don't have to wait another week, even though they have games coming up, where Cleveland, Tennessee, and San Fran could definitely help them by beating Miami, Indianapolis, and so forth and so on. But I do believe that um, they're going to have to wait another week in order to try to get into the playoffs. I say, yeah, I'm with you. I'm going to go with Denver to win. Michael Bullock, it's yours.
Yeah, like you said, I mean, this should be a really good one. I mean, this one could go either way. I mean, Denver is the hot hand right now, but you can never write off the Chargers. I mean, man, like you said, this is tough, but yeah, but at the end of the day, I'm gonna go with you guys. I'm gonna go with the Denver Broncos as well. I mean, because like you said, they have the hot hand right now in the NFL, and a win like that could definitely push them closer and closer to getting into the playoffs. So Denver wins. So now, Florio, now let's get into the for the first time ever preview the first round of the college football playoffs.
A brand new era of the college football playoffs. It started with 4, and now we've jumped all the way up to 12. The first round, and here's how it all breaks down. The college football playoff starts Friday night, one first round game, and then the other 3 first round games will all take place on Saturday. And then from there, the quarterfinals, one game will take place on New Year's Eve, where the Boise State Broncos. Now, here's how it all broke down. The Oregon Ducks, to the surprise of none of us, were the number 1 overall seed. The number 2 overall seed was the Maiden Georgia Bulldogs. The number 3 overall seed was the Boise State Broncos. And the number 4 overall seed was the Arizona State Sun Devils. Oregon will meet the winner of Tennessee and Ohio State. Georgia will get the winner of Indiana and Notre Dame. Boise State will get the winner of SMU and Penn State, and Arizona State will get the winner of Clemson and Texas. The first it'll be the Fiesta Bowl on New Year's Eve to kick off the quarterfinal round, Boise State against SMU or Penn State. And then at 1 p.m. on New Year's Day in the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl, Arizona State will square off against either Clemson or Texas. And then at 5 p.m. in the granddaddy of them all, MF's favorite, the Rose Bowl, Oregon will face either Tennessee or Ohio State. And then rounding out the night at 8:45 p.m. on New Year's night, the Maiden Georgia Bulldogs against either Indiana or Notre Dame. And then from there, the 4 winners will then advance to the semifinals. First semifinal will take place on Thursday, January 9th at 7:30 on ESPN in my favorite bowl game, the Capital One Orange Bowl. And then the other semifinal will be on Friday night, January the 10th, also at 7:30 on ESPN, and that will take place in the Goodyear Cotton Bowl Classic. And then all roads will lead. The final 2 will then battle it out on Monday night, January the 20th, Martin Luther King Day night. Monday, January 20th, 7:30 p.m. Eastern, for the College Football Playoff National Championship from Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta, Georgia. So with all that being said, let's dive on into the first round, and it will kick off on Friday night from Notre Dame Stadium in South Bend, Indiana, on ABC, and it will feature the number 7 seed, the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, my team, squaring off against the number 10 seed, the upstart Indiana Hoosiers. Like I said, Notre Dame Stadium in South Bend, Indiana. And on the call for that game, it'll be Sean McDonough, Greg McElroy, and Molly McGrath. Notre Dame opening up as a 7.5-point favorite. So without further ado, gentlemen, this is it now. First round of the 12-team college football playoff is here. And with that, we finally have postseason games on campus. That comes with one huge question. How much will weather be a factor in these December games? Snow is in the forecast for the Friday night matchup between number 10 Indiana and number 7 Notre Dame, and the Saturday matchup between number 11 SMU and number 6 Penn State. Freezing temperatures are expected between number 9 Tennessee and number 8 Ohio State on Saturday night, and even the matchup with number 12 Clemson and number 5 Texas will have temperatures in the 60s in Austin, Texas. How do these teams adapt to the weather? And one more question. Will these games be competitive? All 4 games have point spreads of 7 points or more. Will there be a shocking first-round upset that ignites the new format? Will it be as unpredictable as the regular season? Let's find out once and for all. So here we go, boys. Indiana and Notre Dame to kick it off. As I have mentioned, snow is in the forecast for the first on-campus college football playoff game, and this feels like a run-the-ball, stop-the-run game between in-state schools that have not met since 1991. Can the Hoosiers make this a game under first-year coach Curt Cignetti? The Hoosiers defense, led by linebacker Aiden Fisher, allowed 2.5 yards a carry this season. Notre Dame running backs Jeremiah Love with 949 yards and 15 touchdowns, and Jadarian Price, 651 yards and 7 touchdowns, will test that defense. And the Hoosiers will be in trouble if quarterback Riley Leonard, who had 721 rushing yards of his own and 14 rushing touchdowns, is a factor in the rushing attack. Indiana quarterback Curtis Rourke will need more run support than Indiana had against Michigan and Ohio State, where they averaged 1.8 yards a carry, thanks to a combined 9 sacks. Notre Dame has an elite secondary led by Xavier Watts, so 3rd and longs in this weather will be tough. Turnovers will be huge. Notre Dame ranked 2nd at plus 16, and Indiana ranked 4th, plus 15, respectively, in turnover margin. The Irish were 2-1 against the spread when favored by 7 points or less. And I'll be honest with you, I expect a close game here. But at the end, I got to go with my team. I got to go with Notre Dame. I think Notre Dame's going to win it, especially with it being at Notre Dame Stadium. That atmosphere is going to be lit, as the kids say nowadays. So, especially on a Friday night. Oh, come on. Notre Dame wins. Indiana will give us fits, though. I do believe that. But Notre Dame will advance. They will defeat Indiana. My final score, 28-24. Notre Dame gets by Indiana and will then advance into the Sugar Bowl on New Year's night for a showdown with the Maiden Georgia Bulldogs. So give me Notre Dame 28-24. MF, let's start a new era of the college football playoffs, shall we? Indiana and Notre Dame this Friday night to kick it all off at Notre Dame Stadium. Oh, what an atmosphere that's going to be.
So much of an atmosphere that it's the highest price ticket to try to get into this game. I mean, the event is sold out. The game is sold out. And the ticket prices were ranging over $1,300. $1,300 just for the worst seats in the house to try to get into Notre Dame Stadium on that Friday night. Why? Because it's in-state rivals. Notre Dame versus Indiana. And this is one of those where one team was expected to be there, the other team had a shocking season, an amazing season. I think a lot of people are going to be definitely riding Notre Dame, saying that they're going to win this game because of the level of competition, because of the level of play. And the one thing that gives the advantage to Notre Dame when it comes to their stats is that they're a really good defensive squad. They're really good. However, Indiana, statistically by paper, is actually better than Notre Dame, believe it or not. One thing that I always preach about is the stats and the figures. Indiana was 23rd in the country at 450 yards per game. Notre Dame, 44th in the country at 428. The biggest outlier or the biggest outcry that you're going to see between Notre Dame and Indiana, the difference between rush yards and passing yards. Indiana, 265 yards per game. Notre Dame, only a mere 196. That's a major uh-oh if you're Notre Dame. Because that means the defense is really going to have to step up to stop an air raid attack. If you're Notre Dame, how do you win this game? Run the football. The weather's going to be bad. Possible snow. You got to run attack. That is the 10th best rushing attack team in all of college football, or I should say in all of Division I. Anthony, you know this better than anybody else. Notre Dame has been averaging over 225 yards per game on the rush attack. That is where Notre Dame is going to live and die, by their attack. This can be a high-scoring game because Notre Dame averages about 40 points. Indiana, 43 points per game this year. Defensively, Notre Dame is better against the run. However, Indiana, if Notre Dame's rush attack is really good luck, Anthony. because against the run, Indiana is number one in the country, only giving up 71 yards per game. That's a challenge. That's going to be a really good challenge for Notre Dame. Their rush attack, 10th best in the country. Can you run against the number one rush defense in all of college football? You're going to have your challenge. But I do believe Notre Dame will win the game. I believe they're just the better team because they're more equipped for the big battles. Indiana, because of their schedule, because of who they played against, they really weren't challenged. Unlike Notre Dame, where Notre Dame had to answer the bell week in and week out. The one loss that Notre Dame suffered was that shocking defeat by Northern Illinois. We've been beating that dead horse to nauseate them. And I know Notre Dame fans are like, all right, we get it. Enough. The one loss that Indiana suffered was a bad loss. It wasn't even close. They got blown out by Ohio State. That was their litmus test. And they failed. Notre Dame wins. They move on. They're going to New Orleans to play in the Sugar Bowl. To head up and to have that fate of destiny battle against the Maiden Georgia Bulldogs. Good luck, Anthony. You're gonna need it when that goes down. Could be our game. You never know. Depending on how some other games break down. Michael Bullock, it's yours, bro. I got Notre Dame.
Yeah, like you said, I mean, this is going to be a test for Indiana. I mean, going into Notre Dame to face the Fighting Irish, and yeah, I mean, they got a test, of course, when they faced Ohio State, and we all saw what happened there. So, can they really show the world why they were worthy of being in the college football playoff? Well, when you're going in to face a team like Notre Dame, I mean, look, the only reason why they were so good because of the schedule. But once they got Ohio State, that's when it really messed up on them. Now you're going into a raucous Notre Dame stadium to face the Fighting Irish. Yeah, I just don't think that's going to end well for them. So for me, I'm with all you guys. I'm going to go with the Fighting Irish to win this one as well. And let's not forget another thing, Florio, for why. I mean, this could be big for them as well. Because remember the story that came out with Marcus Freeman getting a contract extension. So I think it's going to be a good start for him and his team. So give me Notre Dame to win. But yeah, come the next round, they got to face the Maine and Georgia Bulldogs. And that ain't going to be easy.
But Georgia's starting quarterback Carson Beck is injured, and who knows if he'll be ready for that game? We'll have to wait and find out. But
they don't play until
New Year's night. Yeah,
New Year's night.
So
2 weeks.
So we'll see how he is by the time we get closer and closer to that game.
And if Carson Beck can't go, then it's Gunnar Stockton for Georgia.
No, I don't think Gunnar. I think Gunner's out. I think Gunner also got hurt.
Yeah, he got banged up too in that.
No, they already said Gunner's not playing. He's out.
Oh,
so
boy.
they gotta hope that Carson Beck does play because there's nobody else behind. I think it's like a redshirt freshman who's their third string. And do you really want to put a third string out on the field with that much of with that much pressure and with everything riding on the line?
Well, if Carson Beck can't go, they're
gonna have to.
They have no choice. I
mean,
is it a good thing? No. you want to have your best in Carson Beck out there. And hopefully he will, for their sake, that they hope he's healthy by the time New Year's night comes along, because if he's still hurt and can't go, that could be a huge opportunity for Notre Dame.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. But either way, go ahead, Fletch.
I would say right now, if Notre Dame does get through, I would consider them a slight favorite going into that game. You would. You would have to consider, because of the Carson Beck injury, you would have to say Notre Dame right now, on paper, would be the slight favorite going in.
And it's almost like, and I hate to use something different, it's almost like with Super Bowl 46 when with the Patriots, many people, I mean, when they had them, the bettors had them as the favorite, but there were some people out there who said, why aren't the Giants the favorite? Because they were the team that was on the roll, on a hot streak going into that Super Bowl.
Because I think they kind of fell into the mystique of the Patriots because of how dominating the Patriots was. And I don't think a lot of people kind of dismissed the Giants because of who they played along the way during that winning streak. That kind of also led a little bit of an uprising, as they say.
Well, let's not forget also go into that playoffs. I mean, yes, they beat a Falcons team that many people thought they expected to beat, but did anybody have them being Green Bay or even San Francisco?
Not at the time. The Green Bay was, I think, the more bigger shocker than the San Francisco one.
Yeah, so sometimes when you're on a hot streak, that sometimes people will say, well, why isn't the other team the favorite? Because they're playing so well.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens with this. So
yeah.
Yes.
So now let's move on to the next first round matchup, which will be on Saturday.
Yep, these 3 remaining games will all be on Saturday. We start off with the first of our Saturday college football playoff triple header. That coupled with 2 big NFL games on Saturday as well. Oh, boy. How about that? Oh, and we'll get into those 2 Saturday games on Friday night as part of NFL Friday. Both of them are big games, to say the least. So you got those 2 great NFL games along with these 3 college football playoff games. I think we all know what we're going to be doing on Saturday. I know what I'm damn sure going to be doing. But anywho, let's get into the first of the 3 games on Saturday, 12 noon, and this game will air on TNT and will also stream on Max. It'll feature the number 6 seed Penn State Nittany Lions at home at Beaver Stadium in Happy Valley, and they will be hosting the number 11 seed Mustangs of SMU. And on the call for this game, it'll be Mark Jones, Roddy Jones, and Quint Kessenich. Penn State opening up as an 8.5-point favorite, and the winner of this game will head to the Fiesta Bowl on New Year's Eve to take on the number 3 seed Boise State and Ashton Gianti. Ooh, good luck. So, not much more to say on that. MF, SMU, Penn State in Happy Valley to kick off the Saturday slate. The winner gets Boise in the Fiesta Bowl on New Year's Eve.
Now, this is very interesting because of the fact that if you remember in the college football playoff when this announcement came down, it was down between SMU and Alabama. SMU got the final spot and prevented Alabama from getting into the playoffs. Now, you can make an argument. Myself, Michael Bullock, Anthony Florio, we all made our judgments why Alabama did not deserve to be in the playoffs. And the one thing that we were hearing the whole time was that if the ACC championship game was close, there is a possibility that SMU and Clemson could get in. If SMU won, they would be in top four. Most likely, this would have been Alabama's spot that would have gotten in. They would be going up against, this probably would have been Penn State, Alabama, in all intents and purposes. But Clemson won by a field goal at the buzzer. And a lot of people were saying SMU should be in the playoffs. And a lot of the SEC folk was like, no, they don't deserve it. They had their shot. They blew it. They don't deserve it. Alabama fans started yelling, screaming, no, that we would still be a better team than SMU in the playoff. And despite all of the naysayers and everything that happened, the committee decided to put SMU over and said that they were rewarding them for making the conference final, and because of the fact that they only lost by 3. If it would have been a bigger margin, that probably would have swayed them to put Alabama over. But for the betterment of college football, for the betterment of the integrity of the college football playoff, because they did not want a repeat of what happened the year before with the final year of the 4 team where Florida State got left out, ACC champion, undefeated, and got left out for Alabama, and people got pissed about that. This kind of committee decided that they were not going to go back to that well again. Alabama out, SMU in, but they got thrown into a mess. Because who they run into? Penn State. And we all know Penn State played a very good game against Oregon. They just couldn't hang with Oregon. They hung with them as much as they could, but Oregon was just too strong, and they lost the Big Ten championship game. But because of their road and how good they played all season long, they got themselves in. They're into the playoff, and now they get to host against the SMU Mustangs. Now the thing is this: Penn State is a true blue blood Big Ten. They are going to grind you. They are going to run the football. They're going to throw a little bit occasional, but they have a blueprint that is absolutely phenomenal. They are going to run it on you. Their defense is vaunted. They are going to go lap for lap against SMU. Can SMU really kind of try to ride the wave early on? Because that's the thing that's going to be happening. Can they take that punch? Because with that crowd in Happy Valley, with that crowd in Penn State, that's going to be raucous, loud. It's going to be deafening right out of the gate. Can you hang with the Nittany Lions early on? Because they're going to be swarmed. I don't know if they can, and I don't think they will. I think this game is too big for SMU. I don't think we're going to get a surprise here. Unfortunately, I do got Penn State moving on to the next round of the college football playoff. They're going to the bowls. Michael Bullock, it's yours.
Yeah, like you said, with Penn State, I mean, they show why they're in it, and yeah, I mean, we were wondering going into the selection show. I mean, was SMU going to be left out, and would Alabama be in? But the committee didn't give in, and they put SMU in. And I think the thing is, once because they came back and they only lost by that much. That's why SMU got in. Now, if they had gotten blown out in the ACC championship game, I think we're all in agreement. SMU would have been out. So, but yeah, I mean, this is going to be a tall task for this SMU team. But unfortunately, I think this is where their magical run will come to an end, because I too have the Penn State Nittany Lions winning this one. So it's yours, Florio.
Weather could also be a factor here. SMU ranks 6th in the FBS with 38.5 points a game, and Coach Rhett Lashley will favor an up-tempo attack around quarterback Kevin Jennings. Look for SMU to feature running back Brashard Smith, who had 1,270 yards and 14 touchdowns in the passing game, where he had 35 catches for 303 yards to slow down the Penn State pass rush. Abdul Carter, who had 10 sacks and 20 tackles for loss, is a game changer for the Nittany Lions. Jennings had 6 touchdowns and 5 interceptions on the road this season, and this will be their toughest road game yet. Nick Singleton at 838 yards and 7 touchdowns, and Katron Allen at 822 yards and 6 touchdowns will test a tough SMU run defense that allow just about 75 yards a game. SMU has 6 different players with at least 3 sacks, and linebacker Kobe Wilson had 110 tackles, 3 sacks, and 2 interceptions. Will the Mustangs be able to slow down Penn State tight end Tyler Warren, who won the Mackey Award this season? Penn State backup quarterback Bo Prabula entered the transfer portal, so this run will hinge on starting quarterback Drew Aller, who had 2,894 passing yards, 21 touchdowns, and 7 interceptions. Penn State is 2-1 against the spread when they're favored by 10 points or less this season. That home field advantage will be a difference. I will make it unanimous. I have Penn State winning this game as well. My final score, 31-20. Penn State defeats SMU. They will advance to the Fiesta Bowl, and they will then have to deal with the best running back in the game today, Ashton Gianti, and Boise State in the Fiesta Bowl. Ooh, is that going to be a challenge for them? Penn State wins 31-20, so let's move on to our next Saturday afternoon game. 4 p.m. Eastern on Saturday. This game will also air on TNT and stream on Max. The number 5 seed, the Texas Longhorns, squaring off against the number 12 seed and champions of the ACC Conference, the Atlantic Coast Conference, that is the Clemson Tigers, Darrell K. Royal Memorial Stadium in Austin, Texas. On the call for this game, it will be Dave Patch, Dusty Dvoracek, and Taylor McGregor. And Texas opening up as the biggest favorite of the 4. Texas, as of now, opening up as a 12-point favorite. So, Michael Bullock, Clemson versus Texas, and the winner of this game will move on to the Peach Bowl to take on the number 4 seed, Arizona State.
Yeah, like you said, I mean, in Texas, what can you say? I mean, of course, we know Ewers will definitely be starting, and Texas, I mean, they got in here, especially after what they've done this season, and of course, let's not forget unfortunately with what they did to the Michigan Wolverines. But Clemson coming off of a win in the ACC championship that got them in here, so it's going to be a tall task for Clemson, and they got to try to do their best to contain Ewers and the rest of that Texas offense. But at the end of the day, I got to go with the Texas Longhorns to win this one and move on. So Texas wins. It's yours, Florio.
All right. Clemson is a double-digit underdog on the road. The Tigers are 2-3 straight up and 2-3 against the spread as an underdog since 2020. It's a card Clemson coach Dabo Swinney does not get to use often. Can Clemson get the running game going with Phil Maffa, 1,106 yards and 8 touchdowns, to support quarterback Cade Klubnik, an Austin, Texas native who was third in the FBS with 33 touchdown passes this season? Tigers offensive coordinator Garrett Riley will likely stay aggressive, even against the loaded Texas secondary that includes Jahdae Barron and former Clemson safety Andrew Makuba. They have combined for 9 interceptions. Texas quarterback Quinn Ewers has been comfortable at home this season with 14 touchdown passes and 3 interceptions. He had a completion percentage of less than 60% in the 2 losses to Georgia and Clemson, created 12 turnovers in its last 5 games. In its 3 losses, the Tigers allowed 215 yards and almost 7 yards a carry at 6.7. If the Longhorns have that kind of success with Trey Wisner on the ground, then this game could turn into a blowout in the second half. I have the Texas Longhorns winning this game as well. My final score, 31-17, Texas defeats Clemson, and they will move on to the Peach Bowl for a showdown with Arizona State on New Year's Day. So give me Texas 31-17. MF, are you going to make it unanimous with Texas, or are you going to go for the upset here?
Nah, I just don't see the upset. I really think it is Texas. I think Texas, without a doubt, is. Well, I've been riding Texas. You know that for a long time. Yeah, I think Texas is going to win, and there's really nothing more to add. So yeah, Texas wins, and Florio, 1 game left. A bit, which I consider probably the most highly competitive one of all the 4.
Absolutely. The final game of the slate, the final first round matchup, Saturday in prime time, Saturday night at 8 p.m. over on ABC. It will feature, just bear with me for a moment, as it will feature I believe this is the number 8. I'm sorry, I had a brain fart for a moment, but I got it now. The number 8 seed, Ohio State Buckeyes, squaring off against the number 9 seed, Tennessee Volunteers. Ohio Stadium, the Horseshoe in Columbus, Ohio. Chris Fowler, Kirk Herbstreit, and Holly Rowe, they will have this game. Ohio State opening up as a 7.5-point favorite. How will an SEC school fare in Big Ten weather? How will the Buckeyes respond after that dud against Michigan in the regular season finale? These questions will determine who advances to the quarterfinals to take on Oregon in the Rose Bowl. Ohio State is a solid favorite, but this could be a defensive struggle between 2 strong defenses. Tennessee allowed an average of 322 passing yards a game in losses to Georgia and Arkansas. So the opportunities will be there for quarterback Will Howard with an elite group of receivers that includes Jeremiah Smith, Emeka Egbuka, and Carnell Tate. Will the Buckeyes' injury-riddled offensive line hold up against Tennessee's pass rush, led by James Pierce? Expect a different game plan from Ohio State coach Ryan Day and offensive coordinator Chip Kelly with tempo. The Vols will try to speed up Ohio State's defense as well. Tennessee quarterback Nico Iamaleava had a 135.5 passer rating on the road this season. If the Vols can stay patient in the running game with Dylan Sampson, who had 1,485 yards and 22 touchdowns this season, then that will set up a handful of vertical shots with Dante Thornton, who averages almost 26 yards per catch. Fortunately, Ohio State has safety Caleb Downs on the back end. The Vols have a chance to steal this one late in the fourth quarter, but I believe the Buckeyes will come up with a key stop. This literally can go either way, but I am going to take a chance, and I'm going to go with Ohio State to win this game. Close game, but I think Ohio State will eke it out. 23-17, Ohio State defeats Tennessee and they will move on to play Oregon in the Rose Bowl. And if that should happen, MF and I will be Pasadena bound for the second year in a row. After that classic we saw last year with Alabama and Michigan. Oof, what a game that was. So, and if it's anything like the first meeting between those two in October, we're in for another 5-star. So, but we'll see what happens, though. Would I be surprised if Tennessee pulls the upset? I actually would not. So, and Bullock and I talked about this earlier. We had a private call earlier this afternoon, and we agreed that if Ohio State loses this game, then this will be it for Ryan Day. So this game is basically for Ryan Day's job right here. He wins, he'll be fine. If he loses, well, it'll be the beginning of the end for Mr. Ryan Day in Columbus, Ohio. So I'm going to go with Ohio State, but I certainly would not be surprised if Tennessee pulled an upset here. Ohio State wins. My final score, 23-17. MF, you said it yourself. This is the game of the first round right here. Tennessee and Ohio State in the Horseshoe on Saturday night, and the winner gets Oregon in the Rose Bowl.
And the thing is like you said, what does that mean? What are we going to get in that matchup? I mean, it's going to be very, very, very competitive. It is going to be absolutely a barn burner. It's going to be an amazing matchup. It's going to be a hell of a game. And it's going to be very interesting to watch. I will say this, though. If you're Ohio State, you need this win. Because you're still over the trauma, the shock, and there's still a lot of people who are still feeling about that loss to Michigan. And everybody knows that loss is definitely going to be that was very impactful. Now the question becomes is where do you go from here? You must win this game because Ryan Day is on the line. And hell, I'll even go and say the athletic director of Ohio State is on the line right now. I know you guys don't mention it, but here's the fact of the matter. This team, through NIL and everything else, was $20 million. 20 mil to get all these players through NIL, boosters, whatever. And why? For 3 things. To beat Michigan, to win the Big Ten, and to win the national championship. They failed on 2 of the 3. They did not beat Michigan. They didn't even play for the Big Ten title. So already that's 2 strikes against Ohio State. They must win the national championship. There's no more ifs, ands, or buts about it. It's title or bust for the AD and for Ryan Day. Because this is unacceptable in the eyes of Ohio State fans. They want to be competitive every single year. They want to beat the Michigan Wolverines. They want to win the Big Ten. They want the national championship. And if this can't happen, then you're not good enough in the eyes of the Buckeye fans or the Buckeye faithful. If you're Tennessee, you're wondering what type of Ohio State team are we having? Are they still drowning on their sorrows Are they still moping around, not feeling good about themselves after that loss from Michigan? Because if that's the Ohio State team you're going to get, Tennessee not only wins, they dog walk Ohio State. And I mean it too. I'm very serious about this. There will be a blowout. Ohio State gets blown out by Tennessee if they don't get their heads out of their asses. Because right now, everybody's thinking that Ohio State is a wounded animal, and they are. There's already pressure on Ohio State that not only do they have to win, but they got to win convincingly to even offset the anger from the fans. That's how crazy this whole thing is. A close win will not be good enough in the eyes of the Buckeye faithful. They want Ohio State to absolutely blow the doors off of Tennessee. Because now that's the standard. That's what they were expecting from Michigan. They were hoping for that 3-touchdown, 4-touchdown, a complete obliteration of the Wolverines. And when that did not happen and they lost, literally it felt like the sky was falling for the Buckeye faithful. I'm telling you. And it wasn't just like everybody was all over this. Everybody was talking about it. ESPN, Fox Sports, CBS, NBC. Yeah, every YouTuber in the world, or I should say every YouTuber in the country, was talking about that outcome, was talking about that game. I kept my mouth shut for a week because I still had to process that Michigan won. I know, Michael Bullock, it took you a little bit of some time to let that sink in. But for Buckeye fans, dude, it was rough for them. Now here we are. And like I said, they got to win this game. For the Buckeye faithful, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You must win this game. Tennessee, you're playing with the house money right now. You know? If you catch the Buckeyes on an off night, you might win this. But I think Ohio State's gonna get the win. I think they're gonna move on, and we're gonna get that class showdown against Oregon. But I'm telling you, they got to win impressive. 3-point win might not be enough to ease the tension of the Buckeye faithful. I'm telling you, they want a blowout. They want a dominating Buckeye performance. And I think, and even a couple of the guys on ESPN said it best. Maybe it would be better if Tennessee was the home team. That if they were not playing this at Ohio Stadium, at Buckeye Stadium, because remember, that's the same place that they lost the Michigan game. So you know there's going to be a lot more pressure, now more than ever, to win that game. To get the stench and what they feel was the let's just say they need a cleansing. They need some kind of they need a cleansing. They need redemption. They need a priest to come and bless Ohio Stadium, because right now there's still the stench, and you could say there's still that mournful sensation that's in that stadium because of what happened in that game against Michigan. So Ohio State wins. They just can't win. They can't win close. If they do, the whispers and the cries of Ryan Day's job will get even more louder than ever before. Anthony Florio, it's all yours.
I led off, so Michael Bullock.
Michael Bullock.
It's time for Bullock to do what he does best, and that's take us home. So take us home, Bullock.
Like you said, I think the entire college football world is going to be centered in on this game. Why? I mean, because with everything at stake, especially for Ohio State, because everybody is saying it at ESPN or anywhere, that Ohio State needs to go on a deep run, or as you said, they need to win it all. Because if they lose in this round, Ryan Day, without a shadow of a doubt, is done. He's finished. And like you said, and Fletch even makes a good point. It's not just the coach. I think the athletic director, because like you just said, spent $20 million from the NIL to make this team to be a national championship contender. And for the three things, like you said, Fletch, that they were supposed to do this season. Beat Michigan, they failed with that. Win the Big Ten, they didn't even make it, they didn't even qualify for the Big Ten championship. So X on that. The ultimate nail in Ryan Day's coffin will be if they don't win it all, or even get out of the first round. Because the Ohio State fan base, if Ohio State were to lose, they're going to call for changes, not just with the coach, but with the athletic director. They want, as our old pal Derek Ferrer would say, just to blow it up. Start all over from scratch. So they better show up and play, because, I mean, it's going to, and like you said, they have to win this game convincingly to satisfy the fan base. A close game is not going to cut it for them. So I'm going to go with Ohio State to win this one, but I would not all be surprised. And yeah, I'm hoping they win, because if they don't, Florio, what's going to happen to Ryan Day if he loses?
Ryan Day, you're fired.
Exactly. Let's put a bow on this, Florio.
All right, and we certainly will do that. We will indeed put the bow on this special edition of TXN Sports World Football Wednesday. We want to thank you all so very much for tuning in. As always, we'll be back with you again on Friday night at 10:30, right back here on the Tone 25 for the Week 16 edition of TXN Sports World NFL Friday. We will recap the Bronco Charger game, and then we will preview the remaining games of week number 16. Notable games on the docket: the Houston Texans and the Kansas City Chiefs, the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Baltimore Ravens, the Philadelphia Eagles and the Washington Commanders for the NFC East Division, the Minnesota Vikings and the Seattle Seahawks, the San Francisco 49ers and the Miami Dolphins, and I'll even throw in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Dallas Cowboys. Those are the notable games, and we will preview all of them, as we always do, on Friday night, Week 16, NFL Friday. Saturday, over on MF's channel, Brace Fan 95, we have the Cerebral Smack Talk, as we will have NXT, and we will have Friday Night SmackDown. And then Monday night, we do it all over again with Ridiculously Raw. And we do have some future content that the three of us need to put our heads together and discuss, and we'll set it all up. And we hope to have that information for you maybe as early as Friday night. So that's all we have for right now. So until Friday night, for the Week 16 edition of TXN Sports World NFL Friday, this is Anthony Florio here for Good Old MF Michael Fletcher, For Michael Bullock. And, of course, always and forever, our First Lady, Dee Dee Woodson. You know the routine, everybody. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah. Throw the Fortune 4 style. Bye for now, my friends. God bless. Be good to each other. Have a blessed Friday. And until Friday night, for the Week 16 edition of TXN Sports World NFL Friday, you've been watching this special edition of TXN Sports World Football Wednesday right here on the Zone 25 on YouTube and Streamio.com. For everybody who has been a part of this one, for now, Anthony Florio, so long, and bye, everybody, bye.